Hey everyone, it's a beautiful morning here in Portland. We've got this beautiful tree behind me here. I love this tree. Whenever the weather is nice and the sun comes out, you get these beautiful coral colored flowers that the bees and pollinating insects seem to just love. Look at this tree. It's beautiful. I've seen a few like this around the neighborhood. These little sort of wispy flowers, they dry up and they fall to the ground. They look like straw, and then they rebloom when there's warm weather. Yesterday we had a hot day, as you might have seen in my last video. It was like 95 degrees during the day. Today we're supposed to hit the 90s again. These are supposed to be the two hottest days for the remainder of this year. Before you know it, it'll be spring. Well, yeah, it'll be spring, but it'll be fall, autumn pretty soon. And so it's pretty wonderful. So as you can see, the bright sun behind me. Walking down the street by my house, it's lovely here. Love this tree, isn't it beautiful? I'm here on Carlton Street, street close to me. Anyhow, I've been thinking a lot lately about health, and since I've been sick, I've been living in a basement apartment because the rent's cheap and because I have been financially limited. And so when you're financially limited, you make sacrifices in certain areas of your life, or maybe it isn't a sacrifice. I guess it is, considering what I'm about to tell you. But I've been living in a basement apartment, which the rent's cheap. Low rent, high life, as they say. Place is pretty good. There's some issues with having a small sink and a small range. Place isn't bad though. It's about 700 square feet, so maybe a little bit more than that. So that's wonderful. The rent's good. That's kind of the selling point. Is that the rent's good, and that I'm in a city, which is great. I wouldn't be able to afford living here if it wasn't for that factor. So being in the city makes it nice because you can be close to lots of things, and I've got family that lives here, some friends that live here. It's wonderful. But one thing recently I've been thinking about, watching some videos online. Of course, I don't want to get into getting worried about online diagnoses, but I've been thinking a lot about why I've had some respiratory issues, and I felt sick and lethargic sometimes in the mornings. And I've come to think about the fact that I may have been exposed to mold. Living in a basement makes sense. I've seen black mold around the grouting in my bathroom, which concerns me. That's definitely disheartening, makes me uneasy. I've had an air purifier running in my basement for a while, and there's no visible signs of the mold that I can see in my room, and I have a window in my room which gives me some light, so I'm thinking it's not so dingy there. The bathroom is in the other corner of the basement, and it's definitely more dingy there, and there's more water from the shower and the wall that buttresses against the outdoors, the dirt outside. But I don't want to get myself worked up thinking that I'm going to be sick over this thing that may not even be an issue, and then by default, sort of a placebo effect, get myself believing that I have this issue that maybe I don't have. But I know that there is some mold in the place. In fact, there's mildew under some of the cupboards that I no longer utilize. So at this point, I'm just waiting to the point where I can move to a different location. I am slated to be moving within the next few months. But I'm concerned because it's like a cyclical thing. If I am being exposed to black mold or some other kind of spore, dust even, Another concern is that there is carpeting in the basement, which that can sponge up some of that stuff. I noticed when I was in Italy, there was no carpeting. Everybody had tile, and that was nice. I like the hardwood, and the tile keeps all that sponge factor of like being like a petri dish for all that shit at bay. But anyways, the thing about it is that I don't want to create this issue in my mind as it's a non-issue and get myself sick by being some sort of a hypochondriac, if that makes sense. But at the same token, I'm not really a hypochondriac. I'm not a hypochondriac. I'm pretty logical when I'm sick. I try to weigh all factors. I'm not just a WebMD, guy who goes on there and just looks at, okay, here's your symptoms, this is what's wrong with you. I always think outside the box, and I always try to question what things could be contributing to what concerns I might have with my health.